Hey everyone, Codith here. This is my Shotgun-Grenadier Mercenary build for Path of Exile 2. This is the build I took through the campaign. We didn't really have any issues with that at all. Same for like the Ascendancies and stuff. We got a lot of AoE damage with this and really good boss killer as well. I think I'd probably say it would excel on bosses. Yeah, the grenades add a little bit of flexibility to like move around during boss fights and different encounters and stuff. And we got a lot of crowd control too. So this is kind of what the rotation would look like. I toss my gas grenade there. They're all poison. Then we'll toss an explosive grenade in a cluster. Explosive will ignite it, and then cluster just like finishes off everything that's like left behind. And then like crowd control, especially when like we're fighting bosses, we've got our shock grenade. See, they're shocked right there, and we can also freeze them with our permafrost rounds here, like so. So yeah, lots of crowd control. And then we have the stun too from our flash grenade, which is very helpful. Yeah, really fun build to play. I got to the end game. I started doing maps and stuff, so I'm going to be working to transitioning this build for more mapping. So I'll be like moving some stuff around. But let's get into the nitty gritty of everything here. So first off, we are taking permafrost bolts. This is our crossbow ability. Kind of acts like a shotgun, like that. We're taking double barrel. This reduces the reload speed, but it also gives us an additional bolt. Glaciation gives us more freeze buildup, and then nimble reload to increase the reload speed. This is really good for bosses. I mainly use this for bossing or like finishing off like just random straggler monsters. But this is good for like the freeze buildup. Really good crowd control here. Next up, we have explosive grenade. This is our main damage dealer pretty much. That's what it looks like. Yeah. So permafrost bolts and explosive grenade, you're going to get these two first pretty much. For explosive grenade, we've got martial tempo. This increases our attack speed so we can like throw them out faster. Magnified effect gives us just more area of effect. Concentrated effect reduces the area effect but gives us more area damage. And then ignition gives us 100% more chance to ignite. Next up, we have Flash Grenade. This is another source of crowd control. This is a stun buildup right here. That's what it looks like. We've got Overpower here. Causes 50% more stun buildup. Ruthless. And every 5th use of supported attack causes 500% more stun buildup. And then we've got Second Wind. This reduces the cooldown recovery rate, but we get twice as many uses. So we have 4 charges now with this. Which is really nice for bossing. Like, we can stun them pretty often with this. Next up, we have our gas grenade. This is what that looks like. Yeah, you get like a little poison cloud here. And you can ignite it with your explosive grenade. Like so. And for the supports, we have corrosion. This is like an armor break here, which is very nice for the armored monsters. We've got Bursting Plague, gives us like an additional poison damage here. And we've got Maim. Maim is really nice because it slows them down and reduces their evasion rating. So this is also like another form of crowd control as well with the gas grenade. Herald of Ash. This just gives us like extra ignite. We got after overkilling. Voltaic Grenade, this is like another source of crowd control here. This is for electrocution and shock. This is what that looks like. This is also good for bossing too, for like another source of crowd control. We've got Conduction for the supported skill, more chance to shock. Lightning Infusion, supported attack gains. You get extra lightning damage but less cold and fire damage. And then we've got Lasting Shock to have increased shock duration, which is really nice. And we've got our ballista here. I haven't been using this too much, but it's nice to be able to like face check and stuff and like toss some of these down and like the monsters will attack them. It works like a totem pretty much. So for here we've got a lockdown. This gives us pin buildup, another form of crowd control, and then we have chain as well. So these when they fire the crossbow bolts, they can like chain and add some more pin on other monsters. And then lastly, we have our cluster grenade. This one's really fun. Really good for crowd control. Also helps with like bosses too when they're lower on HP because of our execute here. So yeah, we have execute for one of our support gems. Deal more damage against enemies that are low life. Fast forward, less skill effect duration. That reduces like the amount of time it takes for the fuse to go off on the grenade, because there is some like wait time with the grenades. And then we've got scatter shot. This just gives us like an additional projectiles, and then less damage and less attack speed, which is fine. Now let's go over our passive skills. I'm going to go over this as if I were leveling and kind of show you guys my pathing and stuff. But first off, we took the Witch Hunter Ascendancy. We've got damage versus low life enemies right here. Pretty self-explanatory. Low life is considered when monsters are below 35% of their maximum life, so we'll deal increased damage to them. Pitless Killer, this is Coaling Strike. This is kind of like an execute. Once monsters are at this certain HP threshold, so normal monsters it's 30%, magic's at 20%, rare it's at 10%, unique, which is bosses, are at 5%. So it's just like an execute there. Damage for low life enemies again. And then we've got Judge, Jury, and Executioner, Decimating Strike. Hits against full life enemies remove between 5% and 30% of life before the damage of the hit is applied. So if you look back at my VODs during the campaign, you'll see the first attack on the boss is just like this huge number, which is really cool. This is a fun build for bosses, for sure, and then super helpful for the campaign. Alright, but that's it for the Ascendancy for now. Let's go over the passive tree for leveling. So I started off over here. I took the projectile damage route. Took Remorseless for increased projectile damage and stun buildup. Strength and Dex as well. Coming over here, Volatile Catalyst, increased area of effect and cooldown recovery rate. Coming down over here as well. We're skipping this. We'll come back to these later, all this stuff, but this is kind of the path I took, because these ones are really important. So we took Adrenaline Rush. This just gives us increased movement speed and attack speed if you killed recently. Then coming over here, we took Instant Reload, increased crossbow reload speed, and then Volatile Grenades, reduced grenade fuse duration. So these are all really good. And then we get these like other modifiers here, increased reload speed, increased damage, and whatnot. Okay, so once you get those, I came over here and got increased grenade damage, cluster bombs for increased fuse duration and the additional projectile. Grenade Ear, grenades have +1 cooldown use, then I filled this up. Then I came back over here and got over to Colossal Weapon, took all these as well. So two-handed weapon also counts for crossbow. So we shoot our grenades through our crossbow. So it does affect that damage and it helps us out. Then we got Overwhelm at the end here. Reduced attack speed, increased stun buildup, increased damage with two-handed weapons. So that's our crossbow. And then I came back over this way. Got Distracting Presence, increases our cooldown recovery rate. Enemies in our presence have reduced cooldown recovery rate. Coming over here, I went over to this top one first. Wait, no, I went to this bottom one. Yeah, scratch that. I went to this bottom one here. Repeating Explosives. Grenades have a 50% chance to activate a second time. That's really good on this tree. I didn't really take anything else here. It's mostly other stuff. And then after that, we got Sand in the Eyes for that increased attack speed and chance to blind enemies on hit. So that's like another form of crowd control, which is very nice. And then from there, we came over here to Giant Slayer. This is also another thing that helps with like rares and uniques. We do increased damage to them, increased accuracy, increased chance to inflict ailments on them. So yeah, really helpful for bossing and rares. Then coming over to the left, we ended up taking Authority. Increased area of effect for attacks, increased cooldown recovery rate. Took all these nodes for the extra damage and area of effect, and then got Crushing Judgment. Increased armor break duration and increased attack area of effect. Then we came over here for Smoke Inhalation. Damage penetrates fire resistance. Increased duration of damaging ailments on enemies, and then Incendiary. Increased chance to ignite, and increased damage with hits against burning enemies. So that's it from the bottom portion of the tree. After that, I went over this way. Started like looking at more defensive stuff too. So I did Feel No Pain, increased armor and evasion rating, increased stun threshold, battle hardened, hits against you have 20% reduced crit damage bonus. You get increased armor and evasion as well as strength and dex. Then coming over here, Mass Hysteria. We got increased attack speed for us and our allies, which is very nice. Then I came over here to the right and took Heavy Ammunition, reduced attack speed, increased projectile damage, increased projectile stun buildup as well. More stun really helps with the bosses. Coming over here, we got Blur for that increased movement speed, evasion, and dex. And then lastly, Cat-like agility for more evasion. And yeah, it's pretty much what I ended up with for leveling. I may tweak this in the future, though, once I get to endgame. But this really carried me to endgame pretty much. Got through the campaign. Was not that bad at all. Alright, now let's go over the gear. So this is what I ended up with after finishing the campaign. This isn't like ideal gear, but this got me through the campaign, so it works. But one thing I would recommend, I would highly advise you try to find if you're playing this build as a Grenadier. You want to find a Bombard crossbow. That's the base item, Bombard crossbow. The reason why this is so important is because of this implicit aspect right here. So grenade skills fire an additional projectile. So we get an additional grenade because of this affix right here, this implicit affix. Other than that, look for physical damage, high physical damage, cold damage. Attack speed's cool too, because we can like throw out grenades faster. For your other gear, you mostly want to get like defensive stuff like resists, life, armor, evasion, super important. That's pretty much what I ended up with though. Not the greatest stuff. I ended up making this because I found a magic find amulet and I was like, dude, I could just exalt this and get some cool stats. And I did. I got some resist out of it and more rarity of items found. Rarity of items found is kind of cool too because you get increased like chance of getting orbs, for example. So like jeweler orbs, that will allow you to add additional skill slots or skill sockets to support your skills. And then, yeah, resists on rings, of course, defensives. Mana regen is super important, too. We got mana regen right here. Accuracy rating as well, evasion. For the boots, I would recommend trying to find movement speed boots, if possible. When I was playing the campaign, whenever I encountered, like, movement or boots without movement speed, I was kind of like, I'll kind of wait. Try to find an upgrade with movement speed. Because that helps us with our kiting and whatnot, and getting around the maps. Because these are, like, really large maps. For the charms, I just have like the fire charm on right now. You can just like swap this out, like whatever you're killing. And then for the flasks, one thing I would recommend for the flasks, kind of like a personal preference, look for the suffix gains X charges per second. So this will like refill without you having to like kill stuff pretty much. It'll passively refill. So if you have like a prolonged boss fight, this is really helpful for that. We got it same on our mana flask as well. Yeah, really good to have here. That's probably what I would stress the most. Bombard crossbow, gain charges per second on your flasks. Look for defensives, especially like resists on your gear, and movement speed on the boots. Pretty much the same, similar stuff right there. But yeah, that's pretty much it for the build. If you have any questions, leave some comments down below. Reach out on Discord. I stream live on Twitch as well. You can pop in there and ask. Yeah, a lot of helpful people in Discord as well. Yeah, don't forget to like, subscribe. Take care. Peace.